Hi guys, Mel the Train Tutor here again with another tutorial for you, and we're looking at making another hill in this one. And the hills we're going to particularly make are the more stylized wargaming hills, and these are the ones that you see in videos and at shops and that sort of stuff. And they're the ones with the jaggedy edges. And what I'll do is I'm going to throw up a picture of the finished product now. Yeah, I'll take it when I've actually completed it, but this is what it'll look like. And that's what we're going to be looking at making. Okay, now before we make it, what I want to do is just quickly talk over working with the various foams and that sort of stuff for this project, because I'm doing something a little different in this one. So shall we go cameras down? Right guys, before we actually get stuck into making this hill, what I want to do is just quickly take you through a few tools and materials. I know I've covered this in the Back to Basics polystyrene video, but I thought I'd just quick recap. Now, main tools for cutting these sort of things are serrated blades, yeah, like a steak knife, or sharp blades, such as these sort of Stanley knives. Now, this is one of those clip-off ones, yeah. So I'm using it for now because I don't have a Stanley knife to hand at the minute. It's disappeared out of my toolkit. I borrowed it to someone, I don't know who, so I'll show you this, but I don't recommend these sort of things for this project, yeah, because they can break as you cut and you could get injured. So if you're going to use sharps for cutting, okay, make sure they're a solid blade. But let's get cracked on. So I've got a bit of polystyrene, expanded foam polystyrene, the one with the big bubbles, and this was used in a previous tutorial. I've got a bit of high density polystyrene, yeah, which is the really smaller bubbles, and it's a lot more compact. Okay, and then I've got the sort of solid foam, insulating foam polystyrene. What we'll do is I'll show you first with the serrated blade, and I'm going to be using the serrated blade for the tutorial because I prefer it. But if I get this, and you should be able to see that, I can, as long as I go slowly, yeah, it gives a pretty smooth cut. Okay, remember, you'll probably have to go over this with sandpaper, but you will with this anyway, but it's fine. You know, you can cut it with a serrated blade and it'll give very clean cuts. Okay, it normally has problems around the edges where it rips the sort of edge away. Now if I use a sharp blade for this, okay, and I'll do this side, as you can see, yeah, it cuts beautifully clean. Okay, and I'll just do this corner for you. Yeah, it cuts a lot easier than the serrated blade does. Okay, so really easy to do. The problems you have with these sort of things is when you're levering them and trying to break them like that, because what you'll get is you'll get bubbling where the bubbles separate rather than cutting. So sharp blades work really well on this sort of stuff, yeah, just be very careful, yeah, don't cut yourself. So if we move over to the more high density expanded polystyrene, yeah, yeah, and as you can see, it cuts. It's a lot smoother than this one, yeah, because it's high density. But you've still got a few. Sorry, guys, everything's going on in the kitchen while I try and get this done. Yeah, and the other thing is so that's the serrated blade, okay, and as you can see, it's a relatively clean cut. Yeah, it's a lot cleaner than this one. If I use the sharp blade, yeah, it's really smooth. I mean, you can't, other than looking down really closely, yeah, and actually seeing the bubbles, you can't see them. There's no texture of the bubbles with the sharp blade. Okay, same with the breaking with this. You can break it, okay, and it does break with a bubbly texture, and that's because you're not cutting through the bubbles are separating. Okay, and then finally, what we're actually going to do the project with, and that's this pink foam. Now the reason I'm doing the project with the pink foam is because it shows up better on the camera, to be perfectly honest. Whenever I use this white stuff, it sort of really whites out and you can't see the detail. So I'd happily use this for the project, happily use this white stuff, but I'm going to use the pink stuff simply because it's easier for you guys to see. So if I go along with my serrated blade, yeah, this is really tough, so watch your fingers. Yeah, you can literally sort of cut it. It's a relatively smooth cut. Yeah, it snaps a lot cleaner because there's no expanded bubbles. These are made out of lots of little balls of polystyrene. This is just pure polystyrene foam. or styrofoam as you Americans call it. Sorry, I don't mean you Americans, but as the Americans call it. And if I use the sharp blade, so you can see the sort of texture there, hopefully. And if I use the sharp blade, it comes off like that. Okay, and you can see nice and clean. That is very smooth indeed. Yeah, and if I break it, yeah, still smooth. Okay, so out of the materials to sort of work with, this is the better material. But there is no reason, given the right tools, you cannot work with these. Yeah, the reason I'm not working with these today is simply because the pink foam works a lot better with the camera. Okay, so if you can't get the pink foam, don't despair, stick with these. So right, shall we get stuck into, what you call it, actually making the hill? Right, we'll go do that now, guys. So here I've got my pink foam, guys. What I've basically done is I've gone to a large sheet of it and I've cut away sort of 2 corners of the sheet. I mean, you can probably, in fact, I think, yeah, there you go, that's how they came. Okay, so I've cut them away, and what I've done is made one corner smaller than the other so it can sit on top. Okay, and the idea is, in this video, I'm going to make, like I say, a corner piece. Okay, now, for working with this, I'm using the steak knife, and it's dead simple. The first thing I'm going to do, very quickly, is just with the tip of the steak knife, go around this bit. Okay, and that just puts a faint line, yeah, all the way around that I can see, and I know not to cut further than that because I'm cutting into this base. So I'm going to start with the bottom one. Okay, and making Warhammer hills and Wargaming hills is dead simple. They're very stylized. They're very much chunks out. Okay, and so this is a cutting process. So all I'm going to do is cut out chunks. Yeah. Yeah, and with a steak knife, it's dead easy. I'm going to cut heavily here because I've already cut into this corner when I was cutting the pieces out. So yeah, that looks good. And it really is just a process of cutting chunks into it. And an occasional V's. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, cut a few of those in. And I know they look a bit excessive when I'm doing things like this. Okay? But the thing you've got to take away from this is I'm going to keep cutting on this and it's going to blend in. So these sharp V's that you'd never get, yeah, you'd never get those in normal nature. Once I started cutting into them, they'll blend in. So if I go that way, I cut that, I cut that, and what I'll do is I'll cut that a bit, then I'll change the angle I'm coming from, cut that a bit, yeah, cut that like that, and it literally is just carving chunks out. And as you can see, it's starting to make a rock formation. So what I'm going to do is I've got a slight undercut there where I was cutting it out, so I really need to hack and slash at that. Okay, so sorry about this, guys. I'm just going to have to turn it around so I can see what I'm doing. It's not particularly a nice sound, is it? Yeah, watch your fingers cutting this sort of stuff. Really, this sort of stuff is nasty. I'm going to actually stand up and do this because I can get better purchase. Yeah, and just so I don't have to move it so you can see what I'm doing, I'll put it on there for you guys. Right, so let's start carving into this properly. Yeah, see how I'm putting it in, and then with this stuff I'm just breaking it off. You can't do that with the white polystyrene, it gets bobbly where you break it off. But with the pink and blue stuff you can. Yeah. Come in a different way. And it literally is a matter of just, oh, see that? That's where I've gone in previously, so let's just break that off, that's fine. Yeah, we'll take that off a bit. Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about all these little bits, you can rub them off afterwards. Yeah, let's do a bit of a stepped one here. So cut in straight, and this isn't easy with a steak knife. Yeah, obviously hot. Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I can see that going straight into my hand. Yeah. So get in there and break that out. Come on, out you come. There you go. Yeah, bit of a step there. Let's just bevel that a bit. A bit of a step there. Let's put another step down there. Yeah, and chunk it out a bit. Probably do a few more here. Yeah, another one there perhaps. And you can start to see that it's starting to take on that stylized look. Yeah, which is sort of the chunks out a bit. Yeah. Yeah, I've got to do a bit more over here because this is a bit excessive. Yeah, so let's just cut that one in there. Bring that off there. And as you can see, all I'm doing is literally just going around it and starting with the big cuts and then afterwards putting in the detail with the little cuts. There is no right or wrong way of doing this, guys. There really isn't. Yeah, you can still see from the original cut I've got a lot of sort of flat ones here. So all I'm doing is little cuts in, just breaking them off. Yeah, so literally little cuts in and then flip them out. So a little cut in, flip it out. And as you can see, we're already starting to get the little stylized effect that we get with Wargaming hills. That's a bit too much, I think, so we'll break that out. We'll make that sort of coming up here a bit, I think. Yeah, another little cut in here. Yeah. And this isn't a massively long process, you can do it quite quickly. Okay, come around here. Yeah, let's put another bit out there to stretch the top. Now, one of the things I'm quite careful about doing is with my line that I drew around here, I'm quite careful to leave at least a base width, okay, a base of a model. Yeah, because I'm going to need that flat for them to stand on with it being a stepped hill. So let's come up here and we'll do a few more bits here. So just break that one out there. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, break that out there. Bevel that off a bit. Yeah. Now I've got a deep cut in there where I was cutting previously. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Don't worry about that. Okay, the reason I say don't worry is because when we put our our terrain gloop over it, yeah, that will disappear. Yeah, a few more cuts in here, just make it a bit more pronounced. Yeah, another one in there. Yeah, and just coming across here, just bevel these out. Yeah, so we don't have. The thing you really want to avoid is sort of straight edges. Yeah, nature doesn't come with straight edges. Okay, and that's the true giveaway when people look at it. If they can see where it's been worked and where it was previously another block, yeah, then they know it. So I've just come along and I'm literally just taking off the straight edges. I can't, I'm going to leave that one just a bit. And the reason I say that is because it's the end. Yeah, put a couple more little deep chasms in these. Yeah, and it really is that simple. Yeah, and so bring it up so you can see what I've done. Yeah, do you see how I've literally just taken out layers along there, then beveled it along, using the breaking technique to get this sort of rough texture. Okay, and this is a lot more realistic than the last video I did. These are more typical Wargaming hills. Now, I say Wargaming hills because they're still not completely realistic, and I'll do videos in the future on how to make more realistic rocks, you know, for if you want the realistic look. But when this is textured up and everything, this will be absolutely fine for Wargaming. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same with this one on top. Okay, but before I do that, I just want to show you something. Yeah, as you can see, the top of this is smooth. Okay, the smooth bits don't take paint and gloop the same way as the broken bits because they've been compressed. They've got sort of a sheen over them. Yeah, where it's been pressed up, and so they're slightly denser. Yeah, than the actual broken up, which has got the foam, which will soak in. Okay, and bond better. So you're always best distressing these. Now you can use all sorts of things. You can use like a wire brush. Yeah. Okay, but I personally, yeah, just scrape your blade across it. Yeah, and what you start to do is you'll get a texture. It's a very linear texture because of the way you're scraping it. Yeah, so as you can see, yeah, a very linear texture, but if I change direction, yeah, that linear texture goes, and what we end up with yeah, is more of a texture like that. Okay, and it's a broken up texture. It looks very rocky and sort of cracked. Okay, and it's starting to take on the appearance of small little rocks, and the reason for this is we've broken it by going that way in one way alone. We've sort of sectioned it, and then by going this way, what we're doing is ripping off individual bits off those sections, leaving a rocky effect. Now I'm still very careful of that line that I drew. Yeah, just go over it, touching it up, sort of looking for areas that haven't been textured yet. Okay, and there's our first texture piece. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same with this one, exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to go beveling off. Then I'm going to go into the sides, then I'm just going to have a bit of a play with it, and then I'm going to distress the top. Okay, guys? Now, what I'll do is I'll keep the camera running, and I'll fast forward this bit, yeah, on the video so you can actually see me working. Okay? Now, what I'm going to have to do is move this over here, yeah, so I can actually cut down on it without sort of damaging what's underneath. Yeah, so first off, me bevel edges. Yeah, nice and simple. Okay, and all I'm looking to do here is take away this line. That line's got to go. Doesn't matter how it goes, it's just got to go. Okay, next one, I'm going to start coming in and flipping these out. Yeah, and making my sort of my beveled edges. Sorry, not my beveled edges. These are, I'm breaking up this nice clean cut because this is too noticeable. So in, break it off, in, break it off. Yeah, and then I'm going to go a bit more vicious into it, break off a few like that. Yeah, then back up here. Start giving it a bit more definition. Yeah. Remember, with this sort of stuff, you're cutting big to remove volume, you're cutting small to give it detail. Like I said, as I said before, my aim is to get rid of the natural, the original cut. Yeah, get rid of that flatness. Yeah, let's take a chunk out of there. Take a chunk out of there. Yeah, we'll put a nice chunk in there. We'll put another nice chunk in there. And as you do it, and as you cut into it, it'll start to take more and more of a more realistic look. Now, I've said before, they're not really realistic, but they're realistic in the terms of wargaming. Yeah, let's bevel that down. So you see how they're coming together? That's not bad at all. Yeah. A few here. Yeah, let's just get rid of this clean, crisp edge. Smooth it down a bit. Get some channels in here. Yeah. Another one over here, I think. I love this sort of stuff. It's literally arts and crafts, and it's just, there is no right way, there is no wrong way, just have a play. Okay, in fact, I'm looking at this, I've sort of, because I've done that step there, I've sort of clipped into this and there's not as much room as I'd like. So, just quickly, yeah, shave that all back a bit. Yeah, and then start reapplying the cuts. And that's made that a bit exaggerated, so let's just clean that off. Yeah, go round again. I'm literally just dragging my blade across the edge just to blend in where it sort of comes from, coming up to meeting the top piece. So if you see that, what I'm doing is sort of the same sort of texture effect as I did on there. So that's all roughly cut. Yeah, so if I put those roughly on top of each other, you can see the effect. Okay, I think what I'm going to have to do is, just to blend it in a bit more, is I'm going to have to put another step in, or I'm going to have to get rid of that step, because just one doesn't look right. So I'll come in here, I'll break that up like that. Come down here, I'll break that out like that. I'll come here, I'll break that out like that, and then I'll distress it. Oh no, that doesn't look right there. So let's pull this out a bit. Yeah, let's have a good chasm there. Yeah. And let's become sort of a crevice. Top rock, yeah. Yeah, so very quickly, just run the knife over. Another quick distress. Yeah, and this time I'm sort of going against the lines. And this just takes that sort of sharp edge off them. Yeah, so if you see there, they've all sort of got like sharp ridges, and if I just do this, it sort of takes those sharp ridges away. And all I'm doing is I'm dragging the blade literally right across the top of them. Okay, so there we are right now. Okay, next job, okay, is just to distress the top, and I'll do this nice and clean here for you, so you can actually see what I'm doing and the effect I'm getting. So, can you see that? In fact, it's a little bit tricky for me, but I think, you know, you guys are going to want to see this. So, yeah, I've got my piece. This is the flat area that I need to distress. Yeah, so the first thing I do is to go across it like that. And I'm only going in one direction. I'm not even bringing it back, I'm just going in one direction. Just this way, lift the knife up, put it back down on this side. What you should be seeing is these sort of ridges forming. Yeah, it looks almost tiger stripy. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change direction. It's a bit fiddly because I'm trying to hold it so you can see it, but if I change direction now and I come exactly the opposite way, perpendicular, yeah, what it does is it breaks those ridges up into lots of individual bobbles, and that's a really nice texture. You've got to watch it on the edges when you're doing edge pieces, because obviously there's a tendency not to take it all the way, and then you end up with little marks there, sort of parallel ridges. Yeah, so make sure if you're doing corner pieces, you take it the entire way. And there you go, guys, textured. And obviously if you want to put more of a dip in and more undulating terrain, just press down harder as you're texturing it. I just want this relatively flat with a normal texture on. I daren't blow this because it will go everywhere, and I'm still working in the living room. So I'll spin that round for you. And gentlemen, there you have it. Okay, a more realistic wargaming hill, and by realistic I mean it's a step up from. Sorry guys. It's a step up from that one that I made in a previous video, okay? This was really basic, heat treatment and cover with texture and PVA. This is more a carved hill, okay? We've actually sat down, we've carved the pieces, we've made it into what we want it to be. And it's looking pretty good. I mean, I can get my guys on there, there's plenty of room on there. I think this is going to look good in the corner of a gaming table. So the next step, okay, is I need to glue these pieces together, and I need to cover this with my gloop. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a clean up, and then I'm going to come back. Well, first I'll glue it. So gluing, adding 2 blocks on top of each other. I've talked about this in the past. Yeah, it's not hard. All you got to do, and I covered this in my polystyrene video. I'll throw a link up, but you can come back and check it at any point. Yeah, I'm pushing that in, and I'm pushing them quite well down. I don't need that much protruding, I just need to keep it still. Because it's a corner piece, I'm just going to put 3 in. So I've pushed these nice and down. Yeah. Pull them up just a couple of mils, just so they're not sticking out the other end. If you do push them through too far and they stick out the other end and you don't notice until it's all glued, just go to the other end and clip off the excess with a pair of clippers. Yeah, it really does help if you get these things down pretty straight. Don't go at angles, otherwise, you know, it's a pain in the backside. Okay, and here I've got my PVA. It's ready to use because it's been in my glue stand. And you've mocked me. Ha! See how much quicker this works. Glue stands are cool, as Doctor Who would say. Yeah, I am a Doctor Who fan. To be truthful, I'm a major geek, and so is the wife, so it works out well for us. Right, I'm going to slide this down, and just to make it a bit easier for me, I'm going to use my glue stand as a guide. Oh, tricky, tricky, tricky. Yeah, so I'm just going to slide that down. I'm going to get that as level as possible. And just before I push it down, check this side. Yeah, that's pretty good. There you go. And that's pretty damn close. I mean, as you can see, it's probably gone over a little millimetre there, but what I'll do is at the end I'll just run a bit of sandpaper over. Okay, and it will be fine. Now, where these bits join, okay, there's a couple of things you can do about it. You can put gravel in there and disguise the join. Yeah, you can get filler and put it in. But what I'm going to do is, because I know I'm putting terrain gloop over, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get my PVA and I'm just going to run a thick line right along there. Yeah, and that will disguise that little line where one piece meets the other. So all the way around. Yeah, and then as I like getting messy, yeah, just get my finger and just rub it in and actually meet the bond. Yeah, because I'm using my finger won't go all the way in and rub it out of the crack, so to speak. But it will give a nice sort of join. Yeah, without it looking like it's a blob of PVA put down. Yeah, if you don't run it off and smooth it off with your finger, it'll look horrible, guys. Absolutely horrible. So the next job is for me to just go and brush this all off. Yeah, clean up my workstation and then come back, and then it's terrain glooping time. Okay, so guys, I'm going to pause the video now and I will see you shortly for terrain glooping. Right guys, I was cleaning it off outside and I sort of had a slight change of plan. Now I did say that I'll cover this with terrain glue, but if I do that I'm going to lose all the texturing that I've put on. Okay, and I think it's far more important that you actually see how you can texture these things and how you can do it without applying a texture glue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the alternative way, and that's just simply putting some gravel down on it and then sealing it and painting it up so you can see the actual texture. But because I'm not putting the terrain glue on, what I'm going to do is I've got some very, very fine sandpaper. And all I'm going to do is very quickly, yeah, just go over it. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm just trying to get these loose little bits that are sticking up on it. Yeah. So as you can see, as I'm going over it, as I'm going into these sort of edges, those loose little bits are just disappearing. And as always, yeah, it is messy, but we like messy. Well, somehow I've got my wife's hair on there. Thank you, baby. Okay, so just round here as well. And it would, to be truthful, it would have been easier to do this before I glued the two pieces together. Where I was working on the basis that I was going for the effect, the gloop effect. But now we're going for a straight paint up. So around there, just smooth that edge off. Around there, smooth that edge off. Come on. And it really is light. I'm not putting any pressure in this. All I'm trying to do is just catch those little loose bits and get rid of them before they get stuck in PVA and look horrible. Yeah, so let me have a quick look at that and blow it off. Yeah, that's better. Fit there. Okay, and there we have it. So the next job I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some grit around here and in a few places with my PVA. So, dead simple. Yeah, PVA, I've already put PVA to join the join there, but it's not enough for what I need. Should have left it in my glue stand. Yeah, so I'll put some there. I'm going to put some there. A little down there. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm going from where, you know, you would get sort of gravel accumulating, and that would be the creases, the pockets, the protected areas. If you think about it, when rain hits a hill, it washes all the loose bits down, and they wouldn't go over the highest edge. They'd sort of collect and go down, you know, the natural creases and crevices, and then they'd form up in piles at the bottom, protected from the elements. Okay, and I'll talk more about that when we do the more realistic stuff, so you can see what I mean. But just for now, all I'm doing is I'm just spreading a little bit. I'm not putting it on the top here. Yeah, I am literally just putting it in little areas that I think deserve it. I've left the top completely untextured. Let's put a bit down there. And a bit on there. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a quick couple of blobs of decent sized PVA, yeah, in a few places. Another hair, that one looks like the dog's. Animals, eh? And another wife's hair. Right, so rocks. And all I'm going to do is a couple of decent sized rocks. I'm just going to push them in. I'm literally physically forcing them in. I mean, normally I'd set these in filler, but to be truthful, I don't think there's a need today. Yeah, and we'll see in the final outcome anyway, so you can see whether you agree with me. So a couple of big rocks there, out of my little rock collection. Yeah, Come on, let's find some bigger rocks. There we go. A couple of little ones. Shove them in there so they look like they're falling down. Yeah. Next thing, get my brush. Your PVA brush here. Okay, and very quickly, just, in fact, put a bit more PVA on that. And remind me to put my rocks there. So I'm just putting a little extra PVA, and then a little extra PVA where I originally glued the pieces together. Yeah, because this is where the gravel's going to go. Yeah, as it's falling down. I mean, you wouldn't have to put gravel, but the problem is because I've put PVA to join them, yeah, it will become so obvious. So all I'm doing is literally, oh, quickly before I do, because I put another blob over there. Let's just push them in there, that little gravel pile. That one can go on there. Now, that can go there. That can go there. And then I'm just, where it's gone blobby, I'm just spreading it out. Okay? Because I don't want blobby. So all I'm doing is literally just spreading this out a bit. Around the base of those. And here. Up here. Along here. And I could have gone along and glued the big rocks in, but this is sort of impromptu, so I'm just going as I'm going, guys. Yeah. Yeah, and then just this one here. I think I've spread them all out, haven't I? Yeah, oh, that one there. These here. That's got a bit of a... And finally, just... Just a few little patches, let's... See, this is why I need to put this in my glue stand. Yeah, so just literally a few little dots. Spread them about a bit. And there as well. Okay, now I've covered how to do all this basing and gritting in a previous video. I'll throw up a link. Well, basically I'm just going to get my mixed rock tub and take away that another dog hair, another wife's hair. How the hell? And I'm literally just going to... Oh, just 1 second, guys. Rushing ahead. I want to save this grit, if I can. Yeah, so. Yeah, I'm literally just sprinkle it over. Now when I do this, I sort of use the entire tub to make sure that I cover it virtually everywhere in case I've missed spots. Yeah, because I've got the paper down, I can collect it afterwards. Right guys, I am going to leave that now, and I'm going to leave it for a good couple of hours to dry. Okay, and then once it has dried, okay, what I'll do is I will seal it with my 50-50 mix of watered down PVA with a bit of flow aid in it. If you haven't come across that before, there's another video, I'll throw the link up. So, what I'll do is, more than likely now guys, I'm going to come back to this in the morning, and then I'll show you how we paint it up and add the flock and everything, and it'll be complete. So, I will catch you in the morning, guys. Night. Right guys, it's Saturday morning and it's all dry. Now you may notice it's changed overnight. What I've done is I've added a base made out of a cake base. Okay, because I thought the model looked a lot better. I know the video was about showing you how to carve these hills, but it just looks a lot better on a base. Now, a quick caveat with the base, I've made sure that it's wide enough to actually make sure I can get some models on it without any problems. Okay, now what I basically did was I replicated what I did here. You know, once I sort of carved the base out of the cake base, and if you've never done that before, I'll throw up a link to a video I've done on it. I'll put that up in one of these corners. Okay, I glued down some large rocks, then glued down some small rocks, then covered it all over with with grit and gravel. Okay, and then once that was completely dry, and I mean completely dry, I left it for a good couple of hours. I then gave it 2 coats of watered down PVA, yeah, 50-50 mix with a bit of flow aiding, and there's a video on how to make that in the quick and simple tips. Yeah, I'll throw it up if you really want it. But basically what that's done is by giving it 2 coats and letting them dry in between, it's really sort of set this. Now some people will tell you that you can seal it by painting it. Paint is not a sealant, okay? PVA is a sealant, so use PVA to seal these things. Okay, don't use paint. Now obviously the next stage is I need to paint this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these Wilko's tester pots, yeah, of emulsion, some pretty basic colours. And rather than let you watch me paint it, what I'll do is I'll show the painting in stages with photos, and then once it's painted up I'll come back and we can have another chat. So guys, next job for today is to paint this up. See you in a moment. So it's Sunday afternoon here in the UK. It's Remembrance Sunday, so lest we forget, hang your heads. I won't do a minute silence, we've already done that. But basically, yeah, I was busy with the kids yesterday, so I painted this up last night. Yeah, into the wee hours. Yeah, and so I thought I'd show you it now, just before I start flocking it. So basically we've taken it from the pink foam, we've covered it with a couple of coats of watered down PVA to seal it so the paint takes better. Then all I did is I gave it 2 quick coats of really watered down, I should actually say what these are, right. These are Wilko's tester pots. Okay, they come in £1 and it's basically emulsion paint from like a bargain store, and they do tester pots for £1. Okay, and I've got a dark grey and a light one, and I've got a mid-brown and a cream colour. So what I did is with my dark grey, I did 2 watered down coats to sink in all the cracks. Okay, and then I went over and sort of heavy coat over the rocks. After that, I took my brown and I covered the flat areas with the brown, and then also I painted into a lot of these crevices. Okay, and then I smudged it in a couple of places on the rocks. After I'd done that, I come back to my dark grey and simply layered it over, yeah, to sort of take it down again. And then it was a simple matter of dry brushing with a light grey and then dry brushing with the cream colour. And this is the final effect. This is what, you know, you get for your money. I mean, you can clearly see the, you know, where we cut those sort of step effects. You can see the chasm, the rocks stand out. Now there is a bit of bleeding with the grey, okay, into the brown, but it's not a problem. You know, we'll disguise that with a bit of flock and foliage material and it'll all look brilliant, trust me. I've said that before. Now I only use this simple brush to do it. It's a £1 cheapo kiddies one. Okay, you don't use expensive brushes on this sort of thing. Also, because of the volume of paint you're going to be using, it's best to stick to these rather than, like, you know, your hobby paints. So that's what I've done. The next stage is going to be to actually flock it up. So I'm going to do that tonight and we'll finish this off in the morning. So more photos coming up, guys, and then I'll have a chat with you once it's all flocked up and we're all done. Okay, now just before I do go, I know I haven't shown you how to paint this exactly. Yeah, I have talked you through it, but what I'll do is I'll do a back to basics video on painting up rocks and hills and that sort of stuff, and when I do, I'll link it in here. In the meantime, we're going to do the foliage side, and I've already done a back to basics video, so if you don't know how to do that, don't panic. Yeah, there's a foliage video coming up right now and one of the links somewhere, and just follow that and it'll show you exactly how to put all the green stuff on your on your terrain. So guys, I'll get cracked on with this evening and I'll show it to you in the morning. All the best. Hi guys, it's a new day, everything is dried and the piece is completed. So as you can see, now it's all flocked and clump material and static grassed up. It does look rather good. I mean, there you go guys, what do you think? Now you've seen it all the way through. I know I haven't shown you how to paint it. I'll do a back to basics on paint, simple painting rocks, and I know I didn't show you how to flock it, but there's a back to basics on the flocking video. Same with using the cake base. There's a back to basics. There's a video on using how to do the cake base. But the main thing for this video was showing you how to carve the rocks, and it literally was simple as just cutting in, flicking out, beveling the edges, then distressing it a bit. And hey presto, you've got an absolutely fabulous looking Wargame hill. So that's it for this tutorial. I'm going to go cameras up. Hi guys, hope you like it, guys. As always, if you did like it, put a like on, let me know that that I'm doing the right thing. If you think it's worth for other people seeing, share it, subscribe to my channel, you know the sort of stuff. If you're on Facebook, find me on Facebook, guys. Yeah, come and have a chat. It's The Terrain Tutor. Yeah, that's how you'll find my page. And until then, I'll see you soon, guys. All the best. Ta-ra.